Hello and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. I'm your host, Corey Camasso, and these are the top 10 most influential presidents of the United States. The top 10 was selected by using an in-depth algorithm, compiling accolades, accomplishments, public opinion polls, and overall satisfaction ratings. These have been tabulated, and with our staff here at Politicor News Network, we are proud to present the top 10 most influential presidents of the United States of America. To be president requires great ability, wisdom, respect, and leadership. The following 10 men were the greatest presidents ever in the United States of America. Honorable mention, Donald J. Trump. While surely the most controversial on this list due to his pending impeachment and the mixed opinion on his methods and demeanor, no list would be accurate without including his accomplishments. Donald, a wealthy entrepreneur and businessman, was elected to great fanfare in 2016. Having no political background, Donald hit the ground running, immediately passing numerous pieces of legislation within his first month. While very strict, Donald's immigration policies included building a large brick-and-mortar wall to protect the country from harm. And while many have tagged his administration as racist, their actions certainly prove to the contrary. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, and even women's unemployment rates are at the lowest rate in 50-plus years. Improved vetting processes to expedite and assist those seeking legal asylum while restricting access to those not qualified to become citizens has also been implemented by the Trump administration. Donald Trump, through his business experience, has boosted foreign trade and improved the American trade system by taxing foreign goods and restructuring many of the trade agreements in place today. His methods, while highly controversial, have shown outstanding results. After only 3 years in office, Donald and his administration have created almost 4 million new jobs and has employment rates higher than ever in the history of our country. Donald has pushed the economy to a staggering growth of 4.2%, and the median household income has reached all-time highs in comparison to the cost of living. Within his first 3 years, Donald has done far more than many other presidents, and will only continue to improve his worth as the United States president. And that is why Donald J. Trump deserves honorable mention as one of the most influential presidents of all time. Number 10. Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon stepped into office after the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy and was influential by utilizing public interest and public demand to form his ideals and opinions. Lyndon recorded a record amount of passed legislation within his term, one of which, the Great Society, was a plan encompassing a great deal of social and economic ideas that helped shape the America of today. Lyndon realized the political and moral atmosphere of civil unrest and helped to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, outlawing segregation and bringing minorities' rights into the forefront. Johnson gave Congress the tools to re-economize the South and in turn the country as a whole. It is important to note Johnson would have been higher on this list had he not made one of the worst decisions of all time, entering America into the Vietnam War. However, it is for all of Lyndon B. Johnson's accomplishments that we will recognize him today as the 10th most influential president of all time. Number 9. Ronald Reagan. Ronald was a movie star turned politician turned president, but it only seemed to help him win the hearts and minds of Americans, making Ronald the 40th president of the United States. Ronald, to great popularity, cut taxes via two important federal laws, the Economic Recovery Act and the Tax Reform Act of 1986. Ronald was very down to earth, and this made it very easy for him to become the people's president. He firmly boosted entrepreneurial spirit through his policy and also fought vigorously against communism. He boosted defense, first the Soviets, and created a strong alliance with Britain that still stands to date. This makes Ronald Reagan the 9th most influential president of all time. Number 8. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. John graduated from Harvard in 1940 and began serving his country during World War II. John earned the Purple Heart for his saving of a man during combat. Upon leaving the military and entering the political arena, John was elected to the House of Representatives, then to the Senate, before eventually becoming the 35th President of these United States. John is most known for his outstanding leadership during the Cuban Missile Crisis and for easing relations with the Soviets in the heart of the Cold War. John is also noted for his establishment of the Peace Corps and the penning of the Equal Pay Act. His animate speeches helped spark national interest in equal rights legislation, as well as the driving force behind the international space race that culminated in American success. John F. Kennedy was one of the most popular, the youngest to date, and the first Catholic president. Had it not been for his assassination, it is firmly believed he would have been elected for his second term, and his accolades would far surpass many of the presidents on this list. This makes John F. Kennedy the 8th most influential president of the United States of America. Number 7. Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States. Thomas Jefferson was an American salesman, diplomat, lawyer, architect, philosopher, and founding father of our country. He was the first vice president to John Adams, and then the 3rd President of the United States of America. Jefferson was key in safekeeping shipping and trade routes, and fought against piracy and over the taxation by Britain. Thomas organized the deal known as the Louisiana Purchase, forever expanding the territory controlled by our new nation by almost double. Thomas is known as the leading spokesman of democracy and republicanism in the Age of Enlightenment. To date, many scholars and historians alike believe that he penned the phrase, "All men are created equal." Thomas is forever enshrined on Mount Rushmore and memorialized in Washington, D.C. at the Jefferson Memorial. Jefferson's public achievements, including the founding of our nation, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, his advocacy of religious freedom, and his land acquisitions, make Thomas Jefferson the 7th most influential president of all time. Number 6. Harry Truman, the 33rd President of the United States. Harry Truman was FDR's vice president, and his death gave Truman the office of president. Henry, too, excelled in crisis management, which was influential in him coining the phrase, "The buck stops here." Harry was a firm supporter of equal justice for all, and many of the accolades of his presidency revolved around that equality. Henry was also the president that made the decision to bomb Japan to end World War II. Harry Truman, the 6th most influential president of the United States. Number 5. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States. Dwight Eisenhower founded NASA and was a very progressive and innovation-driven president. He orchestrated and created law, which created the interstate highway system, which revolutionized transit and logistics within the United States. This also caused a great boost in interstate commerce, tourism, and made the economy even stronger. Dwight was known for his very high moral authority and also led the United States to the end of the Korean War and molded a moderate course during the Cold War. The 5th most influential president of the United States was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Number 4. Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. Teddy Roosevelt was largely known for his outstanding communication abilities and his ability to lead through example. He strongly believed in boosting trade and was key in the building of the Panama Canal. This forever changed intercontinental trade and commerce. He built foreign relations and was the first president to visit another country while in office. He created the law that originated national parks, which led the way to create some of the most beautiful preserves our country has to date. Teddy also believed in entrepreneurial spirit and lobbied and won against many business monopolies that would have still stood. Theodore Roosevelt is forever enshrined in Mount Rushmore and is the fourth most influential president of the United States. Number 3, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Few presidents were able to persuade the public and other politicians as FDR. This calm, cool demeanor would be the personality to lead our great country out of the Great Depression. Franklin was the only president to serve more than 2 terms, and due to his amazing success and his true leadership ability, it was believed that had he not died, he may have served more than the 4 terms to which he was elected. It was FDR's economy boost that paved the way and allowed for an upward climb that greatly improved the lives of almost every American. It was for this that the 3rd most influential president of the United States is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Number 2, George Washington, the first president of the United States. George was known for his amazing economic ability and leadership. He's often credited for the majestic supreme persona that is known as the presidency. He had impeccable moral authority and always put new America first. He was the only president to not be affiliated with a party. He was chosen for his sheer ability, leadership, and the key role he played in forming of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. George is featured on the $1 bill, he is represented on Mount Rushmore, and he's memorialized in Washington, D.C. on his own Washington Monument. George Washington, the 2nd most influential president of the United States. Number 1, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Abraham Lincoln was one of the most famous presidents, if not the most famous president, of all. He is known for his amazing performance and his unique appearance. Abraham was known as one of the most civil of all presidents, firmly believing in equality for all men. He was influential in the freeing of slaves and opened the door for future human rights movements. While he is most known for his top hat and beard, he is also the primary author of the Gettysburg Address. This is one of the most quoted and heavily memorized selections in the oratory history of the America. From his start till his assassination at Ford's Theater, he led the country with the utmost resolve and personified just what it is and was to be President of the United States. That is why Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, is the number 1 most influential President of the United States of America.